So, welcome to the show, everybody. We got a show for you. I'm Donald W. Moore. I started Get Off My Lawn Records, and this is my beautiful wife, Carissa.
Yes, hello.
We do this show. That's who the bleep we are. I'm a jazz guitarist. I do some other things. We got our second section. We're changing this week.
Yes.
We're making it Carissa explains it all.
Yes, because you have absolutely no imagination whatsoever.
I have imagination. I just
Okay, you have no originality, which is totally appropriate for you being a jazz musician.
I spend all my originality on the jazz.
Mm.
Either way, you come up with something better if you don't like it. So you're gonna explain various scientific concepts.
That's the plan.
We'll see how that goes. We were doing Do You Give a Bleep,
Yes,
but
you didn't.
I do, but I
You
don't.
don't. You really
And-
don't.
And I thought it'd be good for search traffic, but it wasn't really helping. Where I'd rather do evergreen. We call it evergreen content.
Okay.
Us YouTubers. Apparently, I'm a YouTuber. But really, I'm a guy who runs a record label, and we just try to make good music, and we do this weekly show.
Uh-huh.
Our third section this week is going to be Jazz Jam Etiquette, because we got that question. We got that as a request from Ken, who was on the last Freeform Friday session
Yes, that we
that
recorded.
you haven't seen yet. It's
that we
coming.
recorded last weekend.
And he had a bad experience at one of these, and he wanted to know kind of like a rule of thumb kind of etiquette sort of thing, right? So we'll do that for section 3. Section 4 is always our announcements, goals, and a giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
Though we're going to stop pointing out that it's a giveaway in the tags and the title of that. So that will simply become our announcements and goals.
Oh, is that what YouTube objected to?
I think YouTube is objecting to it being a giveaway, which is weird, but they consistently get demonetized. Like for the last 2 weeks. And we use this YouTube channel. We're hoping to, we have a growing audience. We're very excited. You guys are great. And for everybody, there's a lot of new people this week. So welcome. And we're just doing we're doing our thing, but the monetization helps. It's annoying, but it helps, right? Because I've just spent a considerable sum, so now we can start CD producing.
Yes.
The tower showed up today.
It still cracks me up you calling it a tower. It's not a tower.
It does one at a time.
It's not
It's
a tower.
2 bays.
It's like this big.
It's 2 bays. And if we sell a bunch of copies, and we're selling copies very quickly, I will upgrade to something bigger. But it does 1 CD at a time. I put the master in the top, and then I put the... Oh, hi, Studio Cat. I put the master in the top, and then I put the blanket underneath, and it makes one in, like, about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe less. I'll actually do some I'm about to do some testing. We've got a release on the horizon. We'll talk about that in the announcement section. Then section 5 is always our shout outs. And those tend to be a little longer when we have more people in the room.
Yes.
Steven was supposed to be on this episode. He is he's under the weather.
Yes.
So we're wishing him well. Feel better.
A speedy recovery.
Yeah, it's
all that good stuff.
It's either a cold or it's cedar fever. Because the allergies
Could
now.
very well be cedar fever.
Yeah,
'Cause
allergies
cedar's
are out of
ridiculous.
control. Welcome to Austin. And then section 7, our final section. Well, 6. 6 is our broad topic. We're not doing a broad topic this week. We're going to do the unboxing for the Best of Freeform Fridays. So those always come out on Saturday. That's our Saturday video.
Okay.
And today is Saturday. We record on Saturday.
Yes.
Release on Sunday, the full episode. Last week's Saturday episode, last week's section 6 was how I run my light board.
Yes.
So we'll probably do one where I walk everybody through how I physically make CDs. That would be an interesting video to do. I might just, I'll probably be doing quite a bit of streaming on Facebook, like live streaming, because I think I'm going to live stream myself manufacturing these copies. And we're going to go through some experimentation. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, and you guys are going to get chuckle as I go, as I swear. And
I'm thinking you should just record it and put it on YouTube.
yeah, well, so I'm going to look into
Well,
maybe doing
not the
YouTube
swearing
live.
bit, but yeah.
If I can YouTube live from my phone, I'd prefer to do on YouTube.
Okay.
Otherwise, I got OBS. I'm still trying to figure out how to do live stuff, especially downstairs. I could probably figure out how to do live streaming from this room pretty easily.
Yeah.
But the episode last week where we did that downstairs, which is where I'm setting up the manufacturing in the corner, we're out of space.
We're out of space. We're very, very much out of space.
It's a house, right? So we're out of space. But I need the manufacturing stuff to be pretty small in size.
Yeah.
And easily moved, because that's where I'm putting that where the couch goes while we do Freeform Fridays.
Yes.
So, and more than that, we've got a couple of big announcements this week too. So I'm not going to cut that one into this episode because it's 18 minutes long. It's pretty long, but
okay.
But what I'll do is I'll put a card right here, right? I think it's like here-ish. But I'll put a card, and you can watch that when we get there. Okay. You can just open it up because it's uploaded to YouTube. It's just unlisted.
Okay.
Which means anybody with a link can view it. There is an ad on it, but like I said, we're doing what we can, right? Help me pay for this stuff. It was not free. And then section 7 is always our everybody gets a trophy.
Yes. And
I love this little Stanley Cup. This was given to us by Michael, who was on, I think it was episode 5, Ask a Canadian.
That was 4.
4 or 5, early show, right? We were still kind of figuring things out. And now we're in 2017, and I kind of know what we're doing.
Yes.
So before we go on to section 2, I want to ask the audience what you want to see. Leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. I guess at this point our subscribers are growing pretty well, which is great. You guys are the best. But it's surreal to me. How do you feel about all this new attention?
I'm actually rather thankful I haven't noticed any of it in real life yet.
Yeah, see, I got recognized.
Yeah,
once.
you got recognized, but you're shiny disco ball dude.
I did show up to the session wearing this, knowing cameras might be there.
Yeah,
I roll into a recording session with the implicit expectation of there being cameras.
Right.
Now, granted, when I roll in, very few people do what I do, which is these very elaborate camera setups.
Uh-huh.
Most don't even video, but there will be a still or something. This is my look. I have a look. I have a thing. I love this disco hoodie. And we talked about that on an earlier episode.
Yes.
Which was the one with crazy heroin stories, whatever number that was. That was with John. We talked about it.
I never could keep track of the numbers of them.
Yeah, I can't keep track of the numbers, but we're now officially on episode 2 of season 2.
We have seasons?
We have seasons on the full episodes, yeah. We're on season 2, we're on episode 2. Also known as number 15.
Okay.
So, that's who the bleep we are, that's what we do.
Still trying to get past the whole we have seasons thing.
I'm just doing it for search traffic. Like, I figure people will go on to YouTube because there's so much copyright infringement out there. They will go on and search for like season S1, Ep3, and I might get a hit out of that. Okay. But I doubt it. It's kind of fun keeping track of it.
Okay. Well, as long as I don't have to keep track of it, because
it's a lot to keep track
I'm pretty sure that's one of those things that falls into the category of I don't give a bleep.
There you go. So speaking of I don't give a bleep, and do you give a bleep? We've changed it. This is a 2017 change. You're going to explain different how did I put it? Scientific concepts.
Scientific concepts is what you said. Or cooking, apparently, is also an option.
But that's just sexism.
Me sitting here explaining how to make brownies out of a box. I don't know how that's even remotely interesting, but hey.
It's really, really useful information, though. Everybody should know how to make brownies out of a box.
Yeah, and every freaking brownie box has the instructions on it.
Yeah, but you're so good at it. I mean, you're very precise. Everybody compliments the brownies. I think
Yes,
it's you
it's
just
true.
start with a really good mix. Anyway, but we're not gonna do the sexist thing and put you in the kitchen.
No,
We're gonna talk about science.
we are going to talk about science.
So what I did here, because I see you've got your Keynote open,
Yes.
I'm gonna hand you my phone. This is now a remote control for Keynote. So go ahead
Oh.
and just tap the screen to move on to the next slide.
Okay. I didn't know I could do that.
And
Right.
next time I will help you set it up where you can do it from your phone.
Okay. All right. So we are starting with dark matter because Vera Rubin died recently, and we discussed her last week on the podcast. And she was one of the people who was instrumental in discovering dark matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I give a bleep?
Probably not, because
I gave up.
you're you.
I give a bleep.
Okay, so the definition of dark matter is that it's unidentified matter that's distinct from regular matter, neutrinos, and dark energy.
So wait, what is a neutrino?
Neutrinos are little particles that go through everything, and they're kind of cool.
And what's dark energy?
Dark energy is way more complicated, and that's pretty much its own topic.
Okay.
So-
now we know what we're doing next week.
Yes, I'm explaining dark energy next week, apparently. So dark matter does not interact with or emit electromagnetic radiation, and it's invisible to the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So, it doesn't emit visible light, it doesn't emit X-rays, it doesn't interact with them, it
We have no way of perceiving it.
really no way of perceiving it visually. At least in terms of electromagnetic radiation.
So how do we know it's there?
Good question. So, it was discovered by astronomers studying orbital velocity curves of galaxies. And the orbital speed of an object in a galaxy depends on the amount of mass between the object and the galactic center. And this is
What?
uniform.
The orbital speed of an object in S galaxy depends on the amount of mass between the object and the galactic center.
Yes. So, like, the orbital speed of our sun is dependent on the distance of our sun from the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. So, I apologize for the picture. I'm still learning to use Keynote, so...
I razzed her appropriately already, but
Yeah.
leave a comment.
Does YouTube censor obscene gestures?
I censor obscene gestures. I do moderate the comments, but for spam. Like,
No, I meant if I flip you the bird right now,
Oh.
are you going to censor that out?
anyway, well, I can't tell what we're looking at. What
Okay.
are we looking at?
It's a velocity curve. So what it is...
on the left, the vertical axis, what is that? That's velocity.
Yeah, that's velocity.
And what is the horizontal
The
axis?
horizontal
represent?
axis, and let me pull this up on my phone just so I make sure I get the label right. That's distance.
Distance.
Yeah.
And so we have A. Can everybody see A? It's in blue.
Yes, and it's a nice dotted line there.
It's a dotted line in blue. It's a little hard to see. We'll work on this. We're going to improve this as time goes on.
So basically, once all of a galaxy is within an orbit, the velocity should diminish with distance, and that's
A.
A.
So A represents what the thing's supposed to do,
Yeah.
right? And it, instead of coming up and hanging across, it's just kind of, it goes up and then
It tapers out
tapers
the farther
out.
away you get.
and kind of fades out. Yeah.
And
Okay.
so instead, what the astronomers were noticing was that the orbital velocity doesn't drop off until quite a ways past the edge of the visible galaxy,
Which is B.
which is B.
Now let me make a note. Let's make sure let's keep everything black and white.
Okay.
Because I know there's at least one viewer that's colorblind.
Okay.
So yeah, so we have the B, it comes up. I will cut back to the camera, so it's coming up like this, coming across, right?
Yeah.
And then that's what it's actually doing. What it's supposed to do is come up, taper off, and then go like that.
Right.
It's not doing it, and the spread gets bigger and bigger.
Right.
So what causes the difference?
That would be dark matter. So in 1975, Vera Rubin and Kent Ford announced at an American Astronomical Society meeting the discovery that most stars in spiral galaxies rotate at roughly the same speed. So this implies that galaxy masses grow linearly with radius well beyond the location of most of the stars in the galactic bulge.
They rotate or they rotate?
They rotate with the galaxy.
They go around the galaxy. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And they all, yeah, it's not like it goes much faster towards the middle, which you'd expect it to do.
Right.
Okay.
And they weren't noticing that. They were noticing that it's pretty uniform throughout.
Okay.
So.
Do you know how to go back? There you go. So this implied, what? This implied that the galaxy masses grow linear with radius well beyond the location of most stars.
Yeah.
So the mass continues to grow outside of the galaxy.
Outside of the bulge.
Outside of the part we can see.
No, because okay. A galaxy is made up of. There's the disk, which if you look on it head-on, looks like spiral arms.
Right.
This is a spiral galaxy in particular. There's different types of galaxies. And then in the center, if you look at it edge-on, there's a bulge where most of the stars are located. And then you've got the arms coming out from there.
Gotcha.
And that look like a disk at that angle.
That makes sense.
Okay.
This is I'm having flashbacks to playing Spore. I loved playing Spore. Spore was a lot of fun.
Whatever helps you relate.
Sure.
So yeah, that's that.
So they grow. Okay.
Do I need to go back?
Yeah, so they grow outside of that bulge.
Yeah.
So you would see the disc, but it's actually a sphere, and you can't really see that. Is that what you're saying? It's like a sphere. If I started.
It actually kind of looks like one of those toys from the 80s that it was like the flat round disc with the ball in the center.
Oh.
That you bounced on. That's kind of what it looks like.
What was that called? Leave me a comment. Let's go down that rabbit hole and leave a comment with the link to the video, to the commercial. I remember those.
That's kind of what a spiral galaxy looks like edge on.
Right.
So you got
that's what it looks like, but it's not behaving like it looks.
Yeah, it's not behaving like it looks.
So what does it actually look like if we could visualize whatever dark matter is there? Is it a sphere? It's almost
kind of. It ends up being almost more like you've got the visual disc and then like a halo around it.
How big's the halo?
It depends.
Okay.
Depends on the size of the galaxy.
Got it. All right, what's next?
Okay. So, no.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, okay.
So Rubin's work was initially met with skepticism. How'd they confirm it?
Hold on. So, yeah, it was initially met with skepticism, but it was confirmed, and the study of galaxy clusters has been of particular importance to the dark matter studies.
Right, but that's only if it's only important if it actually is useful.
It is useful. It's highly useful.
Okay. So the importance of galaxy clusters.
Yes, the importance of galaxy clusters. So the mass of galaxy clusters can be determined in 3 different ways. You've got from the scatter of the radial velocities of the galaxies within the clusters, from the X-rays emitted by hot gas in the clusters, and from gravitational lensing. So what gravitational lensing is gravity acts as a lens to bend the light from more distant source, so behind the galaxy.
So of all these 3 different ways, they're all saying, yeah, it's doing the thing, And it all agrees that it's doing this.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. You can determine the mass all three ways, and so if they all agree,
right,
then you
there's
got
something
it.
there.
Yeah.
And so then that basically we assume then that it outweighs visible matter 5-1. Okay, what's next?
And that would be it.
That's it.
That's it.
What do we do with that information?
Well, it's one more piece into how our universe works.
Somebody needs to hack it. It's time to go.
You know, I mean, we can't go out and test dark matter because we can't get to it.
It's only out there on the edges?
No,
I
it's
thought
not.
dark
It's not
matter
on the
was
edges.
everywhere.
It's everywhere, but we can't see it. So we can't exactly go take a sample of this stuff going, hey, let's go test this in the laboratory. You know, we're limited by technology and our ability to go to it.
Okay, so let me ask you this as a final rhetorical thought.
Rhetorical thought, okay.
Once we understand dark matter, does that mean we'll be able to change computing to where a plug-in actually sounds as good as that tape machine behind you? All right, what's next? Section 3.
Section 3.
You did a good job on Section 2. You did a great job. Leave a comment or check it out. If you're watching this individual clip, check that out from yesterday. And be sure to subscribe.
Yes.
So this was actually asked of us by a friend, Ken Chikowski.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Ken? Ken joined us on Freeform Fridays.
Yes.
And so he wanted to know what the etiquette was for a jazz jam. He was at one. He had a bad experience. He felt like he was having a bad experience. He didn't know if he was out of line or what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And in the world of being a jazz musician, the jazz jam is the equivalent of the blues jam. You know, you get the blues jams. The retired people, they have jams. The singer-songwriters, they call it open mic night.
Yes.
Right? So, and so do comedians. Hello, Studio Cat. And so, when you're doing these, they can be anywhere, right? You might have them at the jazz club.
Mm-hmm.
You might have them
in somebody's house or in a backyard or
a community center.
Mm-hmm.
Usually these are public performance, though.
Usually.
Rather
Not
than
always, but
rather than a house.
It depends.
Ours doesn't count. Ours isn't really... Freeform Fridays isn't really that. I mean, there's like the Jazz Outside series at Kenny Dorms, which is very similar. But that's... Ours is very, very... I produce that.
Ours is more cultivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's produced, right? So... I don't necessarily invite everybody.
Yeah. Although this time it felt like you did.
It was the biggest session yet. Be sure to check out the Jazz Destroyers. And it's part of the weekly series, Freeform Fridays. So you can just search hashtag Freeform Fridays on YouTube, and you'll see the whole series. I put it in all the tags so it shows up. Anyway, the Jazz Jam, basically usually the way, like in a lot of places, the way to get in with the jazz community, find where the gigs are, find guys to play with, do all this, you show to the jam.
Mm-hmm.
You find where the jam is, you go. Omaha's got one, Austin's got one, there's all of them, there's all kinds everywhere. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gathering. And usually there's somebody in charge. You want to basically not, unless there's almost always a house band.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to kind of lay back and figure out who's in charge before you go, like, maybe you put your instrument together, but you don't even warm up. You just put it together. Don't make noise.
Yeah, rule number 1 is don't piss off the person in charge.
Don't piss off the person in charge. Rule number 2 is make sure the person in charge knows that you're there, knows that you're interested in playing, and what you play, right?
Yes.
probably not a great idea to go, oh, I play piano and drums and bass and guitar, whatever you want, right? Like,
Yep, pick your instrument
pick
for
your
the night.
instrument, tell him, and then let him figure that out over time that you can play other things. So let him know you're there. Let him know you're ready to play. Make sure you have your own copy of the real book. I would show everybody. My copy's on the floor right now, holding this microphone very tightly. It's a real book. Hal Leonard.
pick it up?
No, I don't
Okay.
give a bleep. The Hal Leonard publishes them, and it's a collection of well-known jazz standards.
Yes.
It's become kind of for lack of a better word, it's a bit of a standardized textbook into the history of jazz. It's certainly not complete.
No.
It's certainly not error-free. There's all sorts of mistakes. By the way, they put mistakes in there on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you record a version with that mistake in there, they can say, hey, you used the real book. You used our real book to make this work. You owe us a licensing for that. So they put mistakes in there. So it's very important to read it on the page, but then check it against the actual recording using your ears, right? So it's all about ears, and you got to check it. But show up with a copy. Probably have your own music stand, like a folding stand, something doesn't need to sit up on stage. If you're a guitarist, don't bring a large amplifier. Don't bring a loud amplifier if you can help it. The biggest I've seen at these jams, I saw a guy roll in with a Fender Deluxe reissue, the Deluxe Reverb reissue.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a Blackface. Anyway, it's a 1x12, 22 watt. It's actually a pretty loud amp, but he was running it very quietly. So that's the other thing is, like, don't play. You want to make sure you can hear everybody around you. It's all about the blend.
Right.
So don't play too loudly, but don't play timidly either. But don't go overplay everybody around you. The next thing you want to know is you're going to be playing tunes out of a real book.
Mm-hmm.
Things you should know. Show up with 5 to 10 that you really know.
Mm-hmm.
And then be willing to read the rest. Like, be familiar with the rest, but really get to know 5 to 10 of them. Because if you're waiting for your turn to go basically try out for this guy who probably books that place, you want to make sure you're putting on your best foot forward. You don't want to be like, well, okay, I kind of know that one. Go in no 5 and have 5 that you could showcase on demand. When it comes to soloing, it's usually two choruses unless it's an especially long form.
Mm-hmm.
But the best way to get a feel for how many choruses they like to do is don't be the first guy there and count them while they're warming up. Usually they have the house band will play the opening tune or the opening couple of tunes and count how many solos they're taking and then go do that number. So if they're doing 2, if they're doing 3, great. Do not get on stage without being invited. At a traditional jazz jam. When we do the jazz outside, it's like show up, plug in, hang out, right? Like if it's one of these where it's very improvisational and everybody's just making it up off the cuff, it's probably okay to just put your stuff up there and go. Mm-hmm. But feel it out. If somebody's in charge, honor that.
Right.
Because honestly, they're probably getting paid a very small fee. They're probably getting paid just enough to make them show up and do it, but not enough to live on.
Yeah. No, you end up there's.
You're talking about like $60 for the night.
Right.
Don't mess with them. They're just there trying to make a few bucks.
And there is a difference between a structured jam and a free jam too.
Yes.
So.
And so structured. I'm really talking about structured jams. Sure. Free jams. It's make space. Don't overplay. Right. When you're in a free situation, it's really about make your statement, and then back way back down. If there's a groove going, sink into the groove, find your spot in there. and then step into the spotlight when it's time and when it's not. Don't hog the spotlight. You make your statement and you keep going.
Yeah.
That's the big one. That's the big cardinal sin I see at these free jams a lot, is overplaying. I've walked off of stages because I'm going, there's no room for Don up here, man. Have fun. Like, if you're a hot shot soloist, everybody else would like their opportunity to do that. And if you're assuming that everybody around you is there to support you and what you have to say artistically, you are mistaken. Right?
You won't make a lot of friends that way.
You won't make many friends at all. And so that's what the free. The big one is you should always, if there's a tip jar, always contribute. Right? You're talking about somebody who's either doing it for free or maybe they're getting paid $60. Like, it's not, nobody does this for the money, and they got to put up with, for every guy who goes in and behaves themselves, right? There's, for every 100 guys, basically every night at one of these, I used to run an open mic. At every time you do one, there's going to be one person who's just obnoxious. And because of negativity bias, it seems like it's 10% of the people come through, but it's like one guy a night, maybe two. And you just have to figure out how to, but they're going through, there's a little, you got to keep the show moving, you got to keep the band, you got to keep everybody playing. Not a lot of breaks, right? And if nobody wants to play, you're there playing all night and for like $60. It's a tough gig, but make sure you put something into the tip jar, especially if there's a house band. Make sure you buy something from the place. If you're at a bar or a restaurant, have a drink, have a meal, have a Coke if that's all you can afford. But, you know, they do those specifically to put bodies in that room. And I remember with the open mics, it was brutal on the wait staff, or the bar staff, right? Because it would be a bunch of guys sitting around waiting for their turn. So the other thing you don't want to do with a jazz jam is sit there and wait for your turn. Make sure the guy knows you're there. Make sure you're on the sign-up sheet. And make sure he knows that you'd like to play. But then don't sit there and wait your turn. Sit there and enjoy the music. Study what's going on. And actively participate. Don't sit there and chit-chat unless you're specifically, like, trying to find the right people to do a project, or like I go to the jams. I get gigs, right? I would love to play Elephant Room, but it's not the highest priority on my list. Though I'll probably start going again.
Okay. Well, that's up to you.
Well, and it's just good. I need to work on tunes. You should always work on tunes. Because as a jazz musician, that's your bread and butter. And
yeah, no bride is going to hire you for her wedding band if all you do is freeform jazz.
Right. And not everybody's trying to do this for money.
True.
Right? So if you're not trying to do it for money, good. Right? But I will tell you this, those jazz jams, at least in Austin, that jam at Elephant Room, some of the baddest musicians I've ever seen come through there. And
bad as in bad or bad as in good?
Yes.
Okay.
It's usually both, right? And they're real good about figuring out who's not hanging and who is totally hanging. And they're not super encouraging to new people.
Right.
Right? But they don't, block you out, but they won't let you go Bogart the stage.
No.
And I'm not a jerk, but I've totally let people Bogart the stage, and it's like, that's fine. Like, use my real book. I'm hanging out for the night. But when I go, I'm specifically going to find people.
Yes.
I keep a whole Rolodex of players. And I rotate players in and out, and I've got 3-4 bass players I can call at any time. I've got about three, maybe 4 drummers I could roll in. because these gigs, I just book the gigs and then I find the guys to come do the gigs with me. That's kind of how jazz works, being in a jazz band, or a combo anyway. We're just, it's like one guy's kind of doing it and everybody else is along for the ride. And then I keep note of who rolls me in on their gigs. But yeah, the whole thing on this is, it's just, you want to show up and be humble. Even if you know that you're the best player in that room, take your 2 choruses. You don't need to go rub everybody's nose in it.
Right.
And all you're doing at that point is practicing. If you're not the best player in the room, you're there to listen and get a lesson, right? And take something away from that. And yeah, just be sure to consider everybody involved in the process. Be considerate of the person running it. Be considerate of the other players. Be considerate of the place and the wait staff. And that's my jet. That's probably my. Did I miss anything? You used to hang out when I ran the open mic.
Occasionally, I would. Yeah, don't be a jerk.
Yeah, and be ready to read. You will read, and be ready to transpose if there's singers hanging around. Holy cow! I don't have My Funny Valentine memorized. I had to read it in a fourth away from whatever's in the book. I was basically sight reading it.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh.
Yeah.
I love it because they put you in these situations where you gotta really, it puts you right at the edge musically. And that's where I like to be.
Yeah.
I think that's where magic happens.
Don't be a jerk. Respect whatever the rules are, whether it's an open mic or a jazz jam or whatever it is. Because,
but the thing
even open mics have rules.
There's rules, but the rules usually aren't posted. A lot of these are like implied niceties and things. Some of the open mics with the singers, they get, with the singer-songwriters, because there's such a range of stuff, the rules become pretty apparent pretty quick, or they'll announce them right at the beginning.
A lot of them will announce them right at the beginning. You either get 2 tunes or you get 10 minutes, and God help you if you go over that. Yeah, I've known some people that just aren't cool if you go over that. You will never be asked back ever, if you go over that.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, don't do open mics that go on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Thursday's almost forgivable, but no Friday, Saturday, Sunday open mics. Don't do them. Don't do them, because all you're doing, those are the worst kind of open mics. Yeah. That's a place being very vulture-y, right?
Yeah, that's kind of place that's basically using you as free.
It's free entertainment.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this, no musician worth their salt is going to be there because they're all playing Friday, Saturday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Sundays, like Sunday daytime, they do that traditional jazz jam over at Cap City. Though I can do that, but I don't like it.
Yeah. No,
But let it, go in, feel it all out, be flexible. Yes. That's the most important thing in a jazz jam is you might be playing with somebody who can barely play, or you might be playing with the baddest players you've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And just be flexible about it, and be humble especially around the guys that are better than you, or at least, and especially the guys who you think you're as good as. Because I will tell you what, that is the room where those jazz jams is where guys go to shred, and it can get pretty intense and all that. But it's a room full of musicians. You're playing for musicians.
Right.
But there are guys who just really do eighth notes really, really well. All right. So, what's next? Section 4. Section 4 is our announcements, our goals, and a giveaway.
Yep.
No more giveaways. YouTube keeps demonetizing me for the giveaway, I think. I think it's that. So, let's go through if you're new to this, this section, I just go through what we're doing on the label, right? So the first one is we are living in the age of neo-feudalism. It's a little bit on hold. I'm hoping now that Freeform Fridays is mixed, which we'll talk about, I'm hoping I can start production back up and try to get tape 3 done on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of writing. So that was that. The Best of Freeform Fridays 2016. Physical copies are coming.
Yes.
It's about to be released. I don't know. Well, I'm going to target doing the release at Cafe Creme, which will be February 17.
I believe so.
I think it's February 17 at Cafe Creme in South Austin. I think that'll be the first place where you can come get a copy of Best of Freeform Fridays 2016. And we're going to record the second session of 2017 that night.
Yes.
Which means I'll be a little stressed, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Means we'll both be a little stressed.
Yes. We're going to have Paul Serrato join us.
Yes.
Paul's coming down from New York.
Is he New York? I thought he was.
Well, he's been living in Omaha the last few years,
Okay.
but he's kind of doing his thing in Omaha because he had to move to Omaha, but he came out of New York.
Okay.
That New York cabaret thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're going to cut a record with him while he's here. So we're going to assemble a couple of guys who can read, and he's got charts he's bringing, and we have a piano here, which you'll see next week on Freeform Fridays, which I've had the piano for years. We should point that out. This is not a new thing.
No, the piano has been sitting in the corner of our living room for
Years.
Ages.
Right. Like, we bought this house 6 years ago, and...
Almost 7.
Almost 7. And I didn't have it the first couple years. I didn't have it until the studio was in place. And I think I got the piano after I got the mixing board. Either way.
I don't know. It's been a few years.
Yeah. I got it. It's a 1930s, but it kind of holds a tune. But I'll try to bring somebody in. I'll look into getting it tuned up before Paul comes in. I may have to spring for it. So Best of Freeform Fridays 2016. Freeform. On the topic of Freeform Fridays, I am holding in my hand the session.
Yes.
Session 1 of 2017 is in my hand physically. Over 7 cassettes.
6 cassettes.
That's right, 6 cassettes. And I was going to... I kind of had a wild hair up my hind end to do something on the podcast where I'd like throw the tape in the machine, but I forgot to turn the tape on. I'm not going to go to all that trouble right now. But we recorded it to tape on this big, beautiful machine back here. This is a Tascam MIDI Studio 688. This is the last of the great... This is the last 8-track machine that Tascam ever made. An 8-track takes a standard cassette. You can record to 8. It's awesome. It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's about as big as this board.
Yeah.
Which is also a Tascam. I wonder where I got that affinity for. Okay. MC Overlord. I think they just finished, or they're just about to release that one he's doing before us. So we'll be getting started on that shortly. 2006 and beyond. So if you're new to this, you can go to youtube.com/GetOffMyLawnRecords or click the channel name below.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be playlists right away. 2006 and beyond, I'm only putting it up on a YouTube playlist. So there's no individual videos. They're all individually unlisted. But you can go listen to it for free. And I made it in college, and it's very contemplative. Jesse Thunderwake, the real news on that is before too long I'll start manufacturing physical DVDs of that film. I'll do a run of DVDs.
Okay. Can you do that on the tower?
The tower does DVDs. But I don't know that I have inkjettable blanks. And I definitely don't have empty cases. So if I'm doing DVDs, I'll have to do an additional project with the DVDs. Maybe I'll do Best of Freeform Fridays also to DVD.
Okay.
Because I can't go buy 100 blanks and 100 cases without at least 2 projects to spread it over. I'll only make like 20 of them in a run.
Sure.
If that. It's going to be a lot of work. And then the soundtrack, let me get through these videos I just shot, and then I can get back to work on looking at that. It's a secret to nobody. I think we're going to release that this month. It's on Bandcamp, but I think we're going to get that onto iTunes, Amazon, Apple Play, Apple Music, Google Play, all that stuff. I think we're going to get that one up this month.
Okay.
Or Freeform Fridays 2016. I'm not sure yet. The Jazz Destroyers Live is available. Just a reminder, if you see me at the shows, you can buy a download card for $5. Otherwise, it's downloadable at $10. And CDs are coming immediately of that. So I've got my blanks on order. I got my cases on order. I'm going to need to find the appropriate paper. That's the last piece of this puzzle that I'm looking for.
Okay.
So if anybody has any recommendations on what kind of paper to use to make my CD inserts for like a regular standard jewel case, let me know, and we will make CDs of the Jazz Destroyers Live as well. Escape from Ignorance, Steven's just working it out. Millicent Hughes, we've scheduled it.
Yes.
We're going to record that in May.
Yes.
It's going to be great. She was on Freeform Fridays.
She was.
She'll be showing up. She's playing the piano in a bunch of them. I played a piano in a bunch of them. She sang. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. Sounds in Between. I'm on Josh to... I gotta ping him again. Maybe we'll try to cut that. February's going to be a busy month.
February's a short month, too.
It's a very short month. We're going to record Willie O'Terry in February. WD-41. Willie O'Terry and Dave Lasco. I will get that. When I read it, I can say it. But I haven't put him on the board yet. The other one we're doing in February is Paul Serrato's coming.
Yes.
And we're going to do some stuff with Paul. The best part with Paul is he's super, super interesting, right?
Uh-huh.
And he loves to chat.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put cameras up because he's going to be here for a week.
Uh-huh.
I'll put cameras up and I'll just hang out with Paul with cameras rolling whenever I can. And I will go find 10 minutes we'll make a segment out of this show. It'll become our weekly 10 minutes with Paul.
Okay.
At least for a while.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
Remember, February also has the Super Bowl, my birthday, and Valentine's Day. So please do not schedule on those.
When's the Super Bowl?
My birthday.
Well, that's
First
fine.
weekend.
Yeah, I know not to do stuff on Valentine's Day or your birthday. Quit adding stuff to the list.
It's never stopped you before, is what I'm saying.
Well,
so I'm telling you this year it needs to stop you.
I do what I do. Yeah, so we're doing the Paul Serrato and Josh Peters. I wonder where Josh... I'll ping Josh. I just saw him for the Freeform Fridays, but I'll ping him about where he's at on writing his album.
Okay.
And then finally, Your Name Here. There's still a little bit of bandwidth. I'm going to ping Jomo, follow up with him,
okay,
see when they want to do that. And am I forgetting anybody? Charlotte's kind of taking a break, so we're going to let her take her break.
Ruggero?
Ruggero. Yes, but we're going to have to wait till the weather gets a little nicer. We're going to do that in the backyard.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to suck, because we're going to have to run that snake out the window.
Okay. Yeah, that's really going to suck. And we're going to have to look into sound ordinances as well.
Oh, we'll do it during the day. It'll be a daytime thing.
Okay.
I think we're gonna call it the backyard barbecue sessions. Like, we'll have a barbecue.
Okay.
We'll invite the neighbors. We'll basically put on a live show.
Okay.
And record it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
And they're okay with that idea?
They suggested it.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, great.
But I'm gonna send them the first video from this new Freeform because we did a lot of different things to the room this year.
Uh-huh.
We tinfoiled the windows.
Yeah, we did.
Because we kept getting
the
sunlight coming through the curtains. I couldn't get curtains dark enough to kill that sunlight.
If you look closely in some of the shots, you can actually see the tinfoil because the curtains don't quite cover it in some spots.
Yeah. So keep an eye out. That's an Easter egg for podcast listeners. Yeah. So that's what we have going on. Your Name Here. I still have a little bit of space, but we'll see what's going on. I've been talking to Joe. We might do a Boyfriends record. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
But I don't know I don't know if they want to do that or how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got that going too. All right, so what's next? So
Shoutouts.
Section 5, our shoutouts.
Uh-huh.
Section 5, our shoutouts. I have 2 this week. Now, I need to pull up my phone, and I need to look this name up so I get it right. But my first shoutout is #Justice for Gigi. And I got hip to this. I don't know that a lot of people are talking about it. But Takesha Jarman got me hip to this. It's facebook.com/justice for 2Gs, right? But the hashtag is #Justice for Gigi. I will put all that in the description.
Okay.
But Gigi was hit by a hit and run and killed.
Oh.
And the trial is going to be on the 7th of February. So let's all keep, that I'm sure there's all sorts of things we can do. Let's take some action. Let's bring our community together and see what we can do to help. And then the other one I have is to the American Amish Association Incorporated on Facebook.
The Amish have a website.
I forget what I was on the Facebook, and a while back they had liked a photo. I think it's the photo on the Facebook page of, it's like this board with a notebook on it, but the angle's kind of funny. The board looks a lot smaller than it is.
Uh-huh.
This is about as big of a board as you'd ever want to pick up and move around. Anything bigger and you don't want to move it around.
At least not by yourself.
And even this, I hate moving around. I don't do
Yeah.
it. I installed this into this spot and that's it.
Yes.
Maybe one day I'll get a 24-channel version. I don't think I have room for it, though. Anyway.
Maybe one day when you have space.
Anyway, they had liked one of our early photos. And I think I just went because life is busy. I don't always find the irony in the world. And today I think I accidentally clicked that and I saw it had gotten 1 like. And I investigated who did the liking and I came across that. Because they liked it back in March of whatever. So shout out to them. And then give us your 3.
My 3. Oh, that's right. I need to do 3.
Always.
You didn't do your 3.
I saved mine for the last.
Oh, okay. So my first is to Stewart's. They are a soda maker. And they make soda with
actual sugar
and not a lot of chemicals.
Yeah.
So it's very good. I've had their root beer and their cream soda, and they're excellent.
Always in moderation.
And yeah.
That was a lesson I had to learn the hard way, people. Always in moderation.
So shout out to them. And then we have a sarcastic shout out to the climate change deniers.
I just want to point out, let me point this out, okay? Because yes, we're going through a cold snap here in Texas. And so everybody.
But it's January.
Right.
We're supposed to go through a cold snap. What my problem is that yesterday it never got above freezing.
Yes.
Today the temperature is currently 40 degrees,
right.
which is about as high as it's going to get. Maybe
right.
41. And Fahrenheit, yes.
In the summer, that's our centigrade.
Yeah, but then on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I think through until Friday, the high is supposed to be in the mid to upper 70s.
Right.
That's my problem.
A little schizophrenic.
A little bit.
The way that we know global warming is true is very, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Texas, it's very, very simple. Everybody in Texas in public school is taught Texas history. So you just remind everybody, say, General Santa Anna marched his troops through the snow to get to San Antonio. Think about that. It used to snow south of San Antonio. Commonly.
Yes.
You never hear of snow in San Antonio anymore. Austin maybe will get 1 dusting a year.
Maybe.
If that.
Sometimes every other year. Yeah.
Every other year. And it's a dusting. It's
Yeah.
less than an inch of accumulation, if any. We get almost no snow here. But south of San Antonio, you get no snow. And when Santa Ana came after San Antonio in 18 blah 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 blah, I don't know. I'm not from here. They didn't drill it into me in school. But when he came in the 19th century, they were going through the snow to get to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So global warming is real, folks.
Yes.
All right. And your third shout out?
Third shout out is going to be to the Regal Cat and the Studio
yes.
Cat.
Who have
Because-
both joined us on this show this week.
And they have been very, very clingy to me this
Well,
week.
you're warm and it's cold.
Yes.
That I don't think they actually love you. I think they just love the fact that you're warm.
No, this little one loves me. I think the other one's mercenary, but this little one loves me.
Yeah, he loves me.
Yes.
All right. So, and then my final shout out is always to the Get Off My Lawn Records family. It's a growing family. Holy
it is a growing
cow.
family.
Holy cow, right? We got new members on the... We have a Facebook group. If you want to join the family, you can totally join the family. I do some behind the scenes, early access kind of stuff. Last night... Was it last night? 2 nights ago.
What?
No, it would have been last night. I was mastering last night. So we recorded these to analog tape, right? And we didn't just record them to 2-track. There's 8 individual channels on my faders, right? So I get to mix with this much option on my board with 8 tracks. So I've had to sit down and mix these.
Uh-huh.
And I only had one video ready to go for 2016 from the 2016 session. And I didn't even intend to do that. I meant to really try to get the first Freeform Fridays to be recorded on Monday, up on Friday. I could have made it happen, but I got to take a little more leisurely pace. I got the first one edited last night.
Okay.
So I'm pretty good at this.
Yes.
It looks amazing. But the reason I picked these up is because I had to transfer these from the 8-track through the board, mix it, and then record that digitally to a 2-track. If I ever decided to do an analog format with this, I will have to remix it to an analog master. I only went to a digital master.
Oh, okay.
And then I do a little bit of cleanup, right? I do a little cleanup in the computer, but very, very little. Little compression to make up for the fact that I'm recording it kind of quietly into the computer. This time around, I had to control some bass frequencies. We had that bass a little loud in that room.
Okay.
It
'Cause
was just a little loud and boomy.
I was actually having trouble hearing it up here.
Yeah, I didn't love it I didn't love that using that 15-inch cab as a monitoring thing. Next time we'll run it back through the listen back.
Okay.
So yeah, so we did all this, but what I did was I had actually, while I was mastering, I was so excited about track number 7.
Mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The first half of tape 4.
Yes.
Or tape 5, based on your numbering system.
We had this conversation.
It was my fault. It was my fault. So, but based on that, I was so excited about how that had come out that I live streamed it before I bounced it down.
Okay.
And granted, it's phone audio, right?
Uh-huh.
So you'll actually get to hear like the high-res version later. But holy cow, was it a special performance. So I shared that with the Get Off My Lawn Records family.
Okay.
There'll be a description in the link, a link in the description, and you can totally join. And if you have questions for me, if you'd like to see anything different with the show, you can leave a comment here on the video. But also, Get Off My Lawn Records family is a nice way to, just get a little bit of behind the scenes. I try not to post more than once, maybe twice in a day, and I don't post every single day.
Right.
I don't like doing that to people. Like, I'd made one post and then I went live, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's our shout outs. So typically our 6th is our deep thought.
Yes.
We're skipping the deep thought. I'm going to publish. I will schedule the video to go up. We're going to release the cover of Freeform Fridays.
Okay.
The
that's what we're
unboxing
doing.
video.
Okay.
Which as soon as I got it, I threw cameras up and did it. And it's been up on YouTube unlisted, so I could send it to my mother and let her see it.
Mm-hmm. So she could see your reaction.
But I haven't made the video public yet. So we're making the video public on Thursday. So there was previously I said there would be a card. It's still there. Mm-hmm. You just hover over the eye and you can open that in a new tab and watch that and then come back to this one. So our last section, our seventh section, our final section, which I don't think we're gonna put up this week.
Okay.
So it's our everybody gets a trophy. The last couple weeks we've been putting it up with our shout outs.
Oh, okay.
But I'm gonna break it off this time, right? Okay. So this one's only for the first big trophy is to you, because if you only watch the clips, you didn't even know this existed. So you get the Perseverance Award. Chris Peterson, especially, he caught up. He watched all of them.
Good for him.
Good for him, and good for you for watching. Thank you for checking it out and checking out what we do. And I want to give you the award for you're getting Employee of the Month. Kind of sarcastically. We had this discussion on a previous podcast, and on Monday, you totally earned your recording engineer credit.
Yes. So
you get Employee of the Month.
Employee of the Month.
You insisted on being recording engineer, and I insisted on you actually being recording engineer.
And
you did it.
Kicked butt at it.
You did great. We're gonna work on getting you more familiar with how this is working.
You weren't familiar with that.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I'm still learning. It's got a goofy, weird interface.
The session was delayed.
Because I couldn't figure out how to get it to actually record to the tape.
Yes.
But now I know. We lost maybe an hour. I felt really bad about losing that hour, too. Yeah. I felt really bad about it. So for everybody who was on it, I'm really sorry about that. You guys didn't see it, but I was getting super frustrated, and you heard me come over. We're going digital. No, I still needed to take 3 more minutes. It was like that, and then 3 minutes, and I had it worked out. But the analog is tough. It's a very complex thing. The digital stuff seems complex, but it's so much easier to fix a mistake.
Sure, and it's also, all already interconnected in terms of everything. Whereas with the analog, you're adding another component that needs to be wired in correctly and make sure it's all talking. And
what I couldn't figure out, what delayed it was I didn't know how to make this thing listen to the group outputs. These are on this mixing board, and we're going to do. Chris had suggested we do more special episodes with showing stuff off
with gear.
So I'm going to do an episode on this board because this board is so cool. It does so many things. And I've been working with this board for a couple years now, and I've really gotten pretty slick with using on all these boards like this. I've got these 8 individual outputs, so anything coming through here, I can send it out to these 8 individual, which come out this way, and I have them go into the recorder.
Yes.
Because I have 16 channels. So anyway, I'm very familiar with the routing on this machine. And we're going to get you more familiar with the routing.
Yes.
That'll be our next. That's more of a goal than anything. We didn't do our goals. We got I think 50 subscribers in the last 28 days.
Yeah, I know. You guys
are amazing.
Awesome.
So yeah. So there you go. Employee of the Month, though. You really went and earned your recording engineer credit on Monday.
Yes. So
I wonder if you can see Regal Cat on your lap.
I don't know.
Because what happened when we record these, I'm looking at a camera across the room. It's not that. It looks like a big room, but it's not that big of a room.
Tiny, tiny little screen, though, that we're looking at.
Oh, God, that screen is smaller than...
It's like I can pretty much tell where I am when I move my head, and it shows the little box.
Because it's auto-focusing on you. Yeah, it's kind of nice when we have other people here, because then we can I can work on their camera and they can work on my camera. But that's okay. Steven will get better.
Yeah.
All right.
So I am going to give you. I think you're gonna get the Prima Donna Award.
Ooh. Am I that bad?
Oh, you were horrible on Monday.
It was frustrating.
Yeah, it was frustrating. There's a lot of people and
A lot of people.
a lot of parts, and
Yeah.
you'd schedule it to be a long session to begin with, and
I'm not a...
yeah, you were coming across pretty bad through the talkback.
I was snippy.
Yes, snippy is a good word for it.
Well, when they cost $2 a tape, I'm going, quit rolling the tape. God, the tape is expensive. You get 15 minutes. Each one of these tapes, so you buy a 60-minute cassette. And when they're called 60-minute cassettes, they're really 30 minutes a side.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because you have side A, side B, so they call them 60-minute cassettes. 30 minutes a side. These machines run at double speed for high fidelity. Oh,
Okay.
Regal Cat.
You're falling off.
So they run double speed for the fidelity.
Uh-huh.
So you get 15 minutes on each tape.
Yes.
And I'm trying to wedge two videos onto each tape, so that we did this on. It took 7 tapes to do it, so it was like $14 of materials to make that that happen. Not to mention the mountain of gear behind it.
Yeah.
But the actual it's $14 of materials, and I'm really not wasteful about tape.
You are the one that insisted on going to tape.
I
kept
you
going.
will all understand why.
I kept telling you, you've got it digital. You can just do digital, and it's cheaper that way because you're not paying for the $14 a tape. But
It's not $14 a tape. It's $2 a tape. It's $14 in tape of what we spent on that session.
that's what I said, $14 in tape. Tape.
Okay. Somebody suggested I go large format. And I went, nope.
Large format?
Yeah, like 1 inch, 2 inch.
Okay, to whoever said that, if you want to fund it.
Yeah, exactly. So in the back here, I've got a 1/4 inch reel to reel. It runs at 7.5 IPS. I get about 20 minutes out of one of those reels. And it records 2-track.
Uh-huh.
I don't even think I'd have to inspect the recorder head. I think it's only 2-track in one direction.
Yeah.
So it's 20 minutes of tape. You get 20 minutes out of a tape.
Yeah.
And those are like $30 a piece.
Yes.
Where I can do the cassette and $2. Yeah, I'm not... And 2-inch machines are hundreds of dollars for 20 minutes. 16 to 20 minutes of recording time.
I can count on one hand the number of 2-inch machines I've actually seen in person.
I can't.
You've actually gone up to and touched?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. I've worked with tape.
Okay.
I like cassette. I like cassette because it's such a... You're not going to edit it. It's not...
No.
It's not wide enough to really splice.
Uh-uh.
It's where, like, larger format, you're going, well, I guess I could splice it to get... Like, don't do it. Don't do it. And with what I'm doing, I'm like, the master will be a generational loss, and then the duplicate that I would sell would be a generation. Like...
Yeah.
2 generations from that, I'm okay with 2 generations from that. And I can run when I do the master, I can make it a little trebly, make it a little bright, because it really just darkens up as you go into the...
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for watching. And on that note,